Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called The Valley of Alchemists and is from the company Creative Maker. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page, and you can do that by following the link at the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section right underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, The Valley of Alchemists is a game for up to 4 players, where you and the other players, thematically, are alchemists who are involved in this grand competition that occurs every season. You are trying to brew potions in order to sell to the wealthy donors and try to gain as much prestige as possible. But of course, it's not quite that simple. First, you have to gather the ingredients, then you have to make them into different decoctions, like distilled potions, and then combine those potions into a grand elixir of varying different types. What I have to show you here is a preview copy of the game, so what you see here may be different in the final version, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through it, show you a bit about how the game is played, then we're going to come back and we will discuss it further. The Valley of Alchemists is a competitive game for 2 to 4 players. Each player is an alchemist trying to gather ingredients to brew decoctions to make elixirs. The end of the game occurs when the elixir deck runs out, and whoever has the most experience points will be the winner. Every player gets the same set of components: a player board, where you can store your decoctions and ingredients, and keep track of your ingredient skills, which all start at 1, an elixir chest board, where you will store your finished elixirs, a set of 4 special action tokens, and an ingredient board, where both your ingredient tokens, the gems, and your decoction markers, the discs, are stored. Depending on the number of players, shuffle anywhere from 35 to 55 cards chosen at random to make the elixir deck, then flip up 10 cards into 2 even rows. Any cards left over from making the deck are unused and set aside unseen. Lastly, make a stock of experience point markers in different denominations. Choose a start player and begin. Players take their turn in clockwise order until the elixir deck runs out. On your turn, you can take 2 actions out of 5 available actions in any order, any combination, and even doing the same action twice. The first type of action is collecting ingredients. Choose 2 different colored ingredients on your player board and take a number of ingredient tokens according to your corresponding skill level for that color of ingredient. These are placed in your storage on your player board, but you can never have more than 6 ingredients of a given color on your board at once. The next action is brewing a decoction by using your previously gathered ingredients. Your player board has a table detailing which ingredients you'll need to combine in order to make certain colored decoctions. All brews require 1 water, which is the clear ingredient. To make yellow, red, and blue decoctions, you'll also need 2 ingredients of that color, but to make orange, green, and purple ones, you'll need to mix 2 different colors together with the water. One action lets you make as many decoctions as you can. Each time that you do, move the used ingredients back to your ingredient board and take the appropriate decoction discs to your player board, though you may never have more than 3 of the same color at a time, with one exception that I'll mention later. That leads to the third type of action, which is making elixirs. You can only take an elixir that is face up in one of the rows on the table, but one action will let you take as many as you can with the resources you have. Each elixir card has several features. It lists the decoction colors you need to mix to make that elixir in the bottom right corner, the experience points that elixir is worth in the top right corner. In the top left corner lists the skills that you get to bump up by 1 on your player board when you make that elixir. At the end of your turn, replace any taken cards in the row by flipping up new cards from the deck. A crafted elixir is placed in your elixir chest board, but the placement is very important. If you need to adjust it later, that leads to the 4th action, Rearranging Elixirs. One action used this way either lets you swap the position of any 2 elixirs or move 1 elixir to an empty space on the board. Why does this matter? Because the 5th action is selling a line of elixirs in order to make room on your board and gain bonus points. You can sell only 3 elixirs in a line, horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. Every elixir that's sold gets you bonus points based on the nature of those elixirs. You get 5 points if every bottle is the same shape, 4 points if they all share one color. And if they're 2-color elixirs and all of them share 2 colors, you double those points. And you get 3 points if they all share the same level, which is the number of decoctions it took to brew the elixir in the first place. There are also wild elixirs, and when you sell that one in a line, you decide at that moment what color, shape, and level it is in order to maximize your points. When you're done, just add up your bonus points and take the appropriate amount of experience tokens, and also take those sold elixirs from your board and set them aside for scoring at the end of the game. The last important aspect of the game are the special action markers. There are 4 unique action markers, and they can be placed on your elixirs on your turn as a free action. However, they are one-time use, and after they take effect, they are removed from the game. No more than 1 token can be used on a single elixir. 3 of the markers will allow you to change the shape, color, or level of the targeted elixir, respectively. Place the marker on the elixir, and then name the change when it's time to sell. The 4th special action token actually targets your decoctions, not elixirs. You can transform 3 decoction markers of a single color into 3 of a single different color. This can break the rule that you may only have 3 decoctions of any one color at a time. Place the token on the stack of decoctions markers to remember the change until it's time to use them. The end of the game is triggered when the last card is flipped from the elixir deck. The game continues until it's the start player's turn again, and then stops. In this way, everyone has the same number of turns over the course of the game. Add up your points, count all of your experience tokens that you've earned for selling, the points on each elixir that you sold, the points on each elixir that you didn't sell that is still on your board, but not any bonus points for them being in a line because it's too late to sell at this point, and 1 point for every 2 unused decoctions on your player board. Whoever has the most points is the winner. That is the Valley of the Alchemists. The Valley of Alchemists is very interesting because it has what I would call some of the essential traits of a gateway game. It has an interesting theme, which means that even someone who is not used to the fact that board games sometimes have some very dry, very bland, I would have to say, themes. This one of having to make potions and elixirs and having very bright and colorful artwork to go along with it is really going to help bring in people who would not normally play this type of game. But then the very fact that the gameplay, while it does have a lot of standard Euro game elements to it, where you're gathering different resources and you're combining them together, it's action selection, and while there is some luck involved because you don't know what elixirs are going to come out of the deck, it's very minimal luck in this game. Despite all that, it's very straightforward. It's very fast to learn. It's very fast to teach, and your turns pretty much fly by through the game. You're really only taking 2 actions. You only have 5 actions to choose from, and of course you have your special action tokens. But because of that, you're not really getting bogged down in the decision-making process too much. Although, just because it's easy to learn and easy and fast to play, doesn't mean that there isn't quite a bit going on underneath the hood. You still have to... This is one of those games where, because anyone can do the same type of actions, you're all sort of working off the same palette at the beginning, other than, the fact that the elixir cards can change. You have to... It's action conservation, and using your actions as efficiently as possible, knowing that you only have until the deck runs out, and knowing that if other players are advancing with their potion or elixir making too fast, their skills are going up, which means they're getting more ingredients every time they use those actions, which means their actions effectively become more powerful, and now you really have to worry. So you have to be very cognizant of that as you're playing. How best am I going to use my actions? If I can use some actions ahead of time to get a bunch of ingredients, and then use one action to make them into all the decoctions at once, or to grab a bunch of elixirs all at once, then that is absolutely what you should do. However, if you wait too long, if you think like, okay, these are the elixirs I want out there, let me work towards that, you may find that they're gone by the time your turn comes back around. You wasted time gathering resources or making decoctions that you are now sitting there with the hopes that something better will come onto the line later because those cards are already gone. You have to worry about that. So you have to conserve your actions, use them wisely, but not wait too long. And that's why I'm saying that even though the game is easy to learn, there is some trickery there. You have to figure out how best to play the game as time goes on. But because it plays so quickly, because you're not bogged down in a game that takes hours and hours, and because turns go quickly, you never feel bored and you never feel like, oh, I'm just not getting this. You have that time. And then after you finish the game, you're like, okay, let's play again because now I think I got the rhythm down. So there is quite a bit here to unpack, but again, very accessible to new players, very accessible to people who maybe have played board games before but want something more on the casual side. But for people who are used to heavier board games, there's enough here for them to really sink their teeth into. So if you like any of that, or if you know someone who does in your gaming group or in your family, definitely check out the official Kickstarter project page, because you don't have to take my word for any of this. You can go to the page, find out more information, find out how the tiers work on the Kickstarter. You can follow the link in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. That is Valley of the Alchemist from Creative Maker. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsors. As always, take care.